I think it was in 8th grade. I mugged a kid in a school
Jesus
bathroom
Christ.
with the...
Shit.
What?
Well,
What?
this is just fucked up now. But go ahead.
Well, anyway, I brought a box cutter to school and I mugged a kid in the bathroom.
Oh.
Scott
This was a
Bradley,
little bit after I put gang graffiti on the
$4.99.
Wait.
bathroom
Maybe
wall.
we can call up JLP
Hold on,
and
one second.
JF and we will all have a good time
Okay.
in the JFJLPJFGZ.
Okay. Go. Box cutter, bathroom, school.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah,
Go.
this is a little bit after I put gang graffiti on the school wall and like the FBI had to come and they did a little thing. It was like join or die, some bullshit. Anyway, I brought a box cutter to school and I mugged a kid in the bathroom basically, and I got in a lot of trouble for it. Obviously, I didn't get kicked out, which that was stupid.
The
But they
fuck
didn't
kind
get
of
kicked
school you
out.
want to do? You're not getting kicked out for this.
Well, you know, the cops pat me down. They did the whole thing. He was like, Whitey, you got it. Get out of here. Anyway, I mean, like, you know, cops have searched my house for weapons and stuff like that. Anyway, I do the whole thing. I do the whole mugging, and I get home, and as a obviously my grandparents were like, how do you even begin to punish this, right? Like, what's the appropriate thing? And so she just settled on taking my PS2 away. And so I took, there was this game called Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which was my favorite game.
DBZ
in the
Budokai?
whole-
Was that?
Yeah, it was my favorite game of the whole world. I love it so much. And when she was putting it away, I took it and hid it under the TV. But she saw me. And so she took it and she snapped it right in front of my face.
No.
And it left a little scar where my heart used to be. And then, like, for years I would just bring it up randomly, like, remember when you destroyed my childhood? And like and eventually actually, like, I brought it up on stream, like, I think a month ago, and a fan heard it and like sent me a copy of the game. And then my grandmother that same Christmas also bought me a PS2 because she remembered that, like, the PS2 broke, which was really cool. So I got to play it, and I'm playing it again. It's really awesome. So anyway, that's how yeah, I mugged a kid. I did a lot of dumb stuff. What else did I do? I once a kid once said I had nice hair, so I how do I say this, like, non horribly? I bashed his, like, head in with, like, a school textbook.
Ooh. Yeah.
But like, he didn't say, like, you have nice hair. It was like, you got nice hair. It was like not nice, like, the way he said it.
Oh, he's
So-
like, you got nice hair. Oh my god.
Yeah, like, he said it like mean. Like, he was like, nice hair, Dylan, and like, so it was like, fuck you, and I hit him with the book.
Oh damn. I mean,
It was like algebra too. No, it was biology. Yeah.
I'll never make that mistake again.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I remember, actually, I told this on stream, and I remember when when the whole homelessness thing happened. I saw there was like a Reddit thread on your server, and I saw there was like this one part of it where people were like, so we all remember Dylan's like a thug, right? From his middle school days. Like, we got to get the other side of the story.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus. It's like 14.
Well,
Really gonna hold that over my head?
why'd you change your behavior?
I think it was after my mom, like, killed herself with the heroin.
Wait, but that actually happened? I'm so sorry. Oh my god. Oh, bless your
Oof.
kind soul.
You just made that 400 times more awkward, Jade. Nice job.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry, keep going.
Anyway, when she died due to, like, heroin use and this, it's the same reason why I was so violent, is because she wasn't there, and, like, in the rape situation. I don't want to talk about it. But, like, after she died, it, you know, kind of, like, kicked into gear. Like, number one, now I'm in high school. All this is permanent. When you talk about college applications. And number two, my mom's dead. And I started to connect the issues that led to the stuff I had to go through. And, like, her homelessness in DC and all that, to, like, real world issues, politics, and that's how I started getting so political. And so when people, like, like that's why I've done so much at such a young age, is because like I think I work a lot. I work too much because I always feel like when I'm not working that I'm like in some way like letting her down. Like all the time that I'm like using to relax and like take time off, I could be using to do stuff. And that's how I ended up getting all these high level campaign roles at such a young age, just me consistently working like 24/7.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's how I went from mugging people in school bathrooms to like breaking like national records for like youngest ever and stuff.
Did your dad ever have any involvement in your life, or not really?
Yeah, my dad, the best way to put it, my dad, he still thinks he does, push pills, full hustler. He's got like bullet wounds. It's like, you can assume some stuff. I remember like 3 months after my mom died, he did drugs right in front of me, and that really fucked with my perception of that man. I still have a relationship with him, but he constantly lies to me, and it's so fucking obvious. And the lies will be stuff like, yeah, I served in the military, and just like, no, he didn't. It's like lies that are like so easily disprovable, because they'll be like, what war or what time, and he'll be like, oh, it was the 80s, and I served in like the Middle East or something. And I was like, where? Be like Afghanistan. It was like, you served in Afghanistan in the 80s. It's like so fucking obvious. But I think like, I don't know if it's like he wants to impress me because he feels bad, and he might. My mom told me he beat her, but I have no clue, because he says no, but again, his word means literally nothing. I still have a relationship with him, because my godmother, who recently, like, she died like 2 months ago, who left me half of the inheritance. I'm not even a family member, and that fucked with my head so much, because everybody, like, there's some people who don't like that I'm not a family member and somehow I got the inheritance, because she viewed me as her own kid because my mom wasn't there. And like, she worked very hard to make sure I had a relationship with my father, and now I'm the only person really left in my father's life. And he also has spots in his lungs for lung cancer. So I'm in a position now where I don't know. And I'm
Wait, so you think he has lung cancer right now?
No, he has it. He's starting chemo.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, the
So-
inheritance came from your mom, or
No, my godmother. My mother didn't have shit.
your godmother? Okay. And what is your godmother's relationship to everything?
She just was friends with my father, and she just saw that my mother wasn't there and just
Gotcha. Okay.
decided to be nice. And yeah, I mean, she was literally a fucking angel. She had no reason to be there. So yeah, that's all that. It's weird. And like, it's weird, like, thinking about my mom and like the idea that my mother like inspired me to get like work and all this stuff, because I can also like connect a lot of my trauma to like her being extremely irresponsible, right? She like used heroin when she was pregnant with me. Like, she almost did the whole coat hanger treatment, right? Because she didn't know if I was going to be born with like a ton of disabilities. And I mean, she got me the Lego head, I guess.
Sure.
But for example, like, when I'm sorry, this is super dark. Am I just being a fucking Debbie Downer?
A little bit, but keep going. It's all good.
Okay.
Give me like a little bit. Like,
No, so we just do dark topics on the stream. Why not? It's your life.
you know,
If you're comfortable talking about it.
so the thing is, right, like, she took me to these drug houses, she took me to these places, and I remember, like, when I was raped, the reason I was because she left me at school too long, and they just put me in a room, and somebody took advantage of that. And it was because she was off somewhere high. And so her irresponsibility did that to me. Yet her death motivated all this work. So it's this weird dilemma I have in my head, where should I even be doing this in the first place? Because should I even have all this like feelings of like, oh, I need to like fix the things that did this to my mom, like when I owe nothing to her, she gave me like nothing. But it's still there, that feeling, but shouldn't be there. So I just don't know how to like mentally deal with that, because like sometimes I'm just like, fuck her, but like I'm the reason why we haven't gotten rid of the ashes, because I just can't. Like she moved in with me in the apartment.
Gotcha. Well, geez.
Nobody else took it, so. And of course, like, she's not even the only example of addiction. For example, like the person who like ended up trying to strangle me to death 2-3 months ago, that maybe had to do with this whole thing, is another family member who struggled with alcoholism so bad that he had to get a defibrillator when he was like 30, right? So it's like a constant presence. Yeah. So that's and that's why I mugged a kid in the school bathroom.
Well, damn. Okay. On that note, Jade, are you ready to move our ore to the ship?
Whoa! Ordered ship.
Are you? How do you feel like your? What is your day-to-day experience? Do you feel like generally pretty positive, or?
Oh no. Yeah, I tried to kill myself a few times, but like, it didn't work. So might as well keep working, you know.
What like pushes you to go through from day to day? I guess. What is your like? Is it just like thoughts of your mom, or?
It's anger.
Anger at the just no general direction, or?
It's I view a lot of my anger towards the, I think, system that was inactive during all these processes, right? The fact that instead of giving her the proper care, she was put in a cell, right? That she was unhoused in DC. The fact that she did not have housing in DC and she was taken advantage of. Like, those are things that make me very angry, and so I've directed a lot of that anger into my work, and that work is what keeps me doing. Like, my partner tells me all the time that I work way too much, and it's probably, they say, it's the worst part of the relationship, is that it's a constant. I have this feeling to always be working, always doing something. And even when I'm not working, my way of relaxing is like, I need to study this study, I need to read this thing, I need to do this thing, right? And so I guess a lot of it's anger, but I guess like I think it has changed a little bit, and like I really do. I've been with my significant other for like 3 years now, which, I mean, I do feel like, and it's stupid shit, but I do feel like I love them, and that's a nice thing to have. But it's also really risky because like
if you lose the relationship, it feels like you could just end everything.
I don't want to say that. Like, I just don't want to say it.
Sure.
But I feel like I couldn't ever kill myself because I think I tried to. The last time I tried to kill myself, I was like 12. The first time I was like 10. I didn't know how to tie the knot right, so it didn't work. I couldn't because I feel like there's work to be done, and that's really the main reason. And I feel like I don't want to take a coward's way out.
Jeez. Jade, you should be able to carry everything in this right chest.
So-
Make enough room in your inventory to do it, motherfucker. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
So I live for work. Like, a lot of people live to relax, so that I live primarily for work. I have a very work-based life, and so it's I have a very weird relationship with work. I have a really weird relationship with everything I do, and so I feel like, for example, like a lot of like I'm supposed to like take a step back and be like, I've done all this
Destiny,
stuff,
if you had the
right? I
ability
mean,
to
I'm
restrict
like
him,
the
do you
youngest in
think-
like literally everything. Like everything I've ever done, I'm the youngest. Youngest director of manager of a mayoral campaign in my city's history. Youngest person on any city board in the entire city. Youngest person to ever be a foreign policy advisor to a candidate. Youngest person to ever be a state director in Maryland history. Youngest to do this, youngest to do that. And it's never like enough. It's always just like, I need to do more. I always need to go further.
Do you ever feel like it's something you should work on, is kind of like realigning those internal drives to something a little bit more healthy?
I guess for me, like, doing these things doing these things, all of this is, to me, feels so much more important than just my well-being. And so I'll push myself to exhaustive lengths where I work 7 days a week. My current work schedule is I work as a political consultant for a political PAC, a multi-million-dollar political PAC. I am a financial director for a 2022 campaign. I go to school full-time, and I stream 5 days a week and also schedule all that stuff as well. And there's editing, there's YouTube, there's all that.
Yeah, I guess my question
Right.
is does it feel like all the extra work? I understand that to some extent you're kind of saying it gives you purpose, but it also kind of seems like a big cope too. Like rather than this is like you have a desire to contribute positivity to the world because you see some of it in yourself or something like that. It seems more just like I don't know. I guess it feels like a little bit different. Like it's like an unhealthy coping mechanism for like things in your life. Or do you ever feel that way, or maybe you don't feel that way? That's what.
Oh, I do feel like it's something like that, but it's also where, I guess for me, it's like I look back at it and I've just gone through like so much trauma that I feel like if I stop and think about it too long, everything will just break. You know?
Do you ever think it might be good to like spend some time to just sit with it and address it and process
maybe,
it?
but there's so much work to do.
Yeah, but like, it's not your responsibility to do the work of the world, right?
But it
And
will.
not to mention that, but it also probably inhibits your ability to do work when you're carrying all of this as well inside of you, I would imagine, right? You probably have a healthier engagement with your work.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, there has to be something said about the fact that I've done all these things, right?
Sure, but
And
who's
it's not
to say
just
you
like I
couldn't?
just stumbled upon it, right? There has to be something that was motivating me to push me so unbelievably hard to like outflank every. I mean, you got to think, right? Like like there's a lot of people with a lot more money, a lot more resources, a lot more connections than me that should have been able to do all these things, but I was able to outflank them and do it because I worked 10 times harder. And there's no way I could have done that without that type of motivation.
I understand that. I think that when you reach a point in your life when you've gotten, hold on, I have to keep in mind when I say point in your life. You're like 19 or 20, aren't you? You're 20 years old, right?
Just turned 20, yeah.
I think it's possible to reach a point in your life where when you've accomplished a fair bit, you're very hesitant to change anything because you're worried that if you change any bit of the formula, you're going to lose whatever thing gave you the ability to succeed. For a TV allegory, actually, House fits really well here. Have you ever seen the show?
I don't watch a lot of TV.
There's a lot of arcs in this show. He's like an edgy doctor, and he's addicted to Vicodin. And a few times he wants to quit Vicodin.
Does he have a cane?
Yeah, he's worried about quitting because
Okay,
he's like,
I've
well,
seen
if I lose my drug addiction, then I'm going to lose my ability to perform well because like this, even though it makes me miserable and I hate life and everything, like it gives me the edge I need to be like one of the best doctors in the world. Basically, it's similar to that kind of idea. I'm very sympathetic towards it. I think I had that mindset a lot in my earlier life, but it feels like at some point, hopefully, ideally, what you can do is you can oh god, have you ever heard? Have you ever heard of the term integrate your shadow?
No, I have not.
So, I think that like sometimes really bad experiences can break people. Other times, really bad experiences for whatever reason can cause people to like excel. It's really hard to say why it happens sometimes and why it doesn't. And I think sometimes for the people that the bad experiences helps them to excel in life, it becomes very easy to use those bad experiences to like permanently anchor your life within the context of those bad experiences and to let them be like a defining aspect of your success.
Yeah.
But
I remember there was this thing I read in the class about one's ability to build their own narrative is extremely important in how you interact with the world.
Yeah.
The story that you're writing impacts how you act. So it's not only just like you acting you, but how you're perceiving how you're acting impacts how you're acting.
Yeah.
As in, like, if my narrative is like basically all this stuff happened and I need to just like fix all of this because it just needs to put my whole life and dedicated to it. That's like how I'm gonna act. Like if I view it as like some fucking unending quest, right?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm hesitant whenever someone's like, oh, like, well, why do you think you're like this? And it's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I can give you a story for why I think I am, but that might be influenced by, who I am at the time. So I don't actually know if that's true.
Building.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think at some point in a person's life, I think there's a lot of value in being able to take like a negative drive that you've used and like honed and given you like a positive end, to be able to assimilate the positivity from that drive, but separate the negativity from it as well. So like for me, like growing up, when I say growing up, I'll say like from 20 to 25, I think one of my biggest strengths online was that I was an incredibly edgy very pointed, very aggressive type of person. And to some extent, I kind of worry that, like, you know, the changing landscape of the internet might change that. Like, yeah, you know, I could be like pretty aggressive. I could be a dick to a lot of people, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I think that's just part of who I am and I need that or whatever. But I think it's possible, as I've mellowed out over the years, that I can take something positive from those experiences and I can hold on to the positives of those experiences and utilize them in the future without constantly having to be the most negative, aggressive, like asshole-ish person possible. Does that make sense? Like, find ways to like assimilate into yourself like the positive aspects of a negative experience you've had without letting those negative experiences define you for the rest of your existence.
So like control it, like hold it by a leash almost.
Yeah, but in order to do that though, at some point you're gonna have to sit down, and obviously the discomfort varies from person to person, but at some point you're gonna have to sit down with these experiences and like really truly process them. Like understand that like I experienced this thing, it's not fair, it's not good. Like sucks. There's a lot of trauma involved. But like I think you need to like really sit with that and process it. I say you generally. I don't know if you need to. I can't know that, right? But it feels like that might do some good.
Yeah, you're not a psychologist.
Yeah. Or not even. I'm not even sad. I don't care about the legal disclaimer. I'm just saying personally to you, like I don't know you well enough. I could be like super off in everything I'm saying just because I'm not like that personal with you. But I'm just saying that in terms of like what you've told me, like I think there's a lot of value in that because a lot of people define their drives by their negative experiences, but that always comes back to bite you in the ass. Like not many people make it to like 70 and they're like, oh yeah, you know, I was just filled with hatred my whole life, and that just drove me until the very end. Like, you know, these people either become incredibly self-destructive and they kill themselves in their early mid-20s or late 20s, or eventually they find a way to like kind of like integrate those experiences in a more positive way. I think, in my opinion, I think is good to do. That obviously that's really easy to say too. That's a very easy piece of advice to give, but it's an incredibly difficult thing to do. But
because like one of the things I'm dealing, like how do you like the positive, separate the positive and negative from your experience with rape and heroin abuse and homelessness and everything? Like it's like how do you do that? It's like
there's a lot of
like
you sound like you consider yourself a smart person. I consider myself to be a really smart person. I think that there are positives to that, and I think that there are negatives to that as well. I consider myself to be a pretty smart person, and I think I have really good emotional regulation. And as a result of that, I can lie to myself really well about things that may or may not help me in the future. So something that's really bad is that for intelligent people, or if you are an intelligent person, it's very easy to rationalize away shit and be very emotionally unintelligent as a result of your intelligence. So to be more applicable here, it sounds really stupid and it sounds really juvenile, but sometimes like talking to other people that have had similar experiences to you can be like a very liberating thing. I don't know if you do this, but something that I've done a lot in my life is I usually think like, if I have a negative feeling, I usually think like, this is a stupid feeling, I need to get over it. But that process, like just doing that to yourself can actually be somewhat dehumanizing. And even doing something as dumb as like, or seemingly dumb as like group therapy and hearing other people talk about their experiences can be like a really validating thing for something that you yourself experienced. You don't necessarily feel as alone in the world, or you understand that other people have gotten fucked in a way similar to you, and it's not fair, but just hearing other people air their experiences can be really liberating for yourself. Just as like a thing, if you ever decide to go after like therapy or group therapy or something like that. Jade, did you fall overboard?
I'm sorry.
Why wouldn't you say something? You're gonna die.
No, you're talking.
Did you have
It's
your
okay.
inventory full of ore?
Yeah. It's okay.
Jade, life philosophy can wait, okay? You just died with... Oh, God, how much ore did you have on you? Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Anyway. Wait! The tombstone floats. Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead, Dylan. What were you saying? I just finished the thing.
See, this
Group
experience
therapy.
right here,
Fuck. Group therapy
this
is...
experience is almost as traumatic as everything I've gone through.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb things. Okay, I'm sorry. When I say there's a lot of dumb things, what I mean is they seem like they're dumb, but they're not. They're actually incredibly emotionally intelligent things related to therapy and therapeutic techniques that if you're intelligent, it's very easy. I did this a lot in my early 20s. I looked down on a lot of people, and I saw myself as being better than a lot of people. And I think one of the biggest changes that I've made as a human over my 20s is coming to not see myself as better than people, but seeing myself as different than people, right? Like, sure, I might be more intelligent in this way, but emotionally, I might be lacking this, or artistically, I might be lacking this, or this person, I think, like, you know, I might be way better than this, but they have a totally different perspective on this thing, and there's like, I can probably learn something from every every person I interact with. You know, they're going to have at least one thing that they know way more about than I do. I don't know if you personally suffer from that, but having like a way more humble view of your own like emotional well-being, I think goes a really far way in alleviating like prior trauma or past issues that are really difficult to confront. But all of this has to be like a really deliberate process, and it can be a really difficult thing to deal with.
Yeah. And the thing is, I acknowledge I need to do a lot of things, right? Like, I acknowledge, for example, I know that I need to rest more.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing I need to do. But then for my priority list will always like weigh, like I'll look at like, okay, what can I strike from my list of like things? And I look at this like list of responsibilities I have, and I can't find anything. Like, obviously I'm not going to get rid of college. I need to graduate. I can't get rid of streaming because I need that to house myself, and I don't want to get rid of the consultant job because that helps just top out my income, and without that I wouldn't be able to house myself either. And the financial director job, I mean, that'll be great for, I mean, this is against a candidate who literally called my county the N-word county. This is great for experience. It's for a just cause, and so what I'll slowly do is rationalize myself, and I can't take anything off of the table. I got to keep doing all this stuff, and it'll always be down the road. And so it's just a can I keep kicking down.
I think that it's really difficult, and I swore to God that I would never say this to anybody because when I hear it, I just want to kill the person because it's such a worthless piece of advice. It feels like some things you are granted by experience. So I'll say something that may or may not mean anything, but I strongly feel that very few people would ever say that have experienced like pretty traumatic stuff would ever say that like, God, when I was 22 and I took like that like 3 months off, or when I postponed that job or whatever to like get my mental health in check, I regret it so much. I should have just pushed through. I think
you're 100% right. Like,
Yeah.
Because what I'll think about is, I remember in high school, anytime I'd get like a B, I'd feel like I do this thing where I'd be like, you have failed your mother. Like, that's how I would I would catastrophize every slight failure into a major thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even remember any of those tests.
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
remember any of those quizzes. And so I don't think it would be any different. And for example, I considered taking off, and you know what? I think I might do it now, actually. I think I probably should. I was thinking about taking off the next semester because it's just honestly, it's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
And the toughest, I like streaming. This is something this is the new thing too, I've actually found.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like any of my work.
Yeah.
I don't do. The idea of working for enjoyment is like a foreign thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I work because I want to gain something. I think there's two types of people. I think there's
Jade, come to me on the map. Jade, come to me on the map.
I think there's people who work for those break periods, you know, those like 9-to-5ers who just like, man, I can't wait to get off for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's people who genuinely enjoy their work, and I think there's people who work to achieve something.
Sure.
That boxers, they might like boxing, but when they're not, and I'm saying this as somebody who loved boxing in high school. That was a therapeutic experience. Getting beat up, getting just destroyed by people double your size isn't a fun experience, but you're doing it because you want to achieve like a medal or a goal, and there's that thing you're going for. And I feel like that's what I'm doing, that I don't enjoy anything I'm doing whatsoever. I don't enjoy political campaigning. I don't enjoy this. I feel it as kind of like a civic duty. But streaming is something I actually enjoy, and that's something that's like messing with like how I view work.
Sure.
You know, it's something that I actually enjoy doing. I enjoy making content. It's busy. It's stressful, of course, but so are all jobs people enjoy. And so it's messing with like, I'm trying to balance these two things, but I don't know if I can. So I mean,
I think taking some time off can probably be good. I think that
I think the semester off would not be terrible for me. My partner actually did that, and they're not dead.
I think that it's easy to carry a lot of emotional and psychological trauma, and to continue to do that to you because we don't really have a good way of measuring it. And because we don't have a good way of measuring it, it's easy to take it for granted. So like if you could endure some level of psychological or emotional harm in order to make more money or get more viewers on stream or to get further in school, like all of those things are easy to measure. So it's easy for us to say like, oh, it's worth it. Because like, well, like what do I get for being like happy or emotionally well? Like there's not like a clear metric for that. So there's not really anything that that somebody can grade themselves on. So it's easy to carry a lot of that trauma and to further that because there's no way to mark it. But it's like it's one of the as soon as it goes, every other area in your life suffers, and you won't. Unfortunately, because of how we're put together, we don't notice it. Everything else will just start to get completely fucked. Also, and then the final thing I'll say too about this is that like for emotional or psychological trauma, taking time off does nothing. You have to take time off and put deliberate effort into fixing this stuff. None of this stuff gets better on its own. It has to be purposeful, deliberate, like these are the problems that I have, and I'm going to take these steps to fix them. Like it has to be a process that you engage in. Why is my ship not turning? Oh, there we go. Because sometimes people make the mistake of just like taking some time off, and they'll think that like, oh, cool, well, I took like 2 weeks off, like I should be good. But if you don't actually put in the work to like fix anything, like you're just gonna be back to square one.
Yeah.
You should consider it though. It's healthy to have a healthy mind, and it helps you do everything else in your life will be so much better and will feel so much better too. And then the best thing too is that like one thing that sucks as well is when we're considering about like sacrificing time and everything too, we tend to evaluate like future sacrifices or future mental states when we're in really good states of mind. But if you try to think of how you handle those things in the worst states of mind or in really bad states of mind, that can give you a different answer too for like how you should be acting. So for instance, like maybe right now you feel like, well, maybe I can trudge forward and it'll be okay and I'll do school and work and blah, 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 blah. But like when you're in like the worst, like the darkest places in your mind, and then you get like an adverse effect that comes up, like you're really super fucked. Like, and then now you're like suicidal or something, or yeah, it gets really bad. Jade, can you ping on the map where your body is? Middle mouse click on the map.
Okay.
I bet people take their mental health for granted so much. Sorry. Okay,
I think a big thing for me, there was 2 big developments, and I think like me, one thing was acknowledging the fact that I was raped. That was like a big thing for me because it's weird to, and this is something that I don't think people even know attention to. Guys getting raped does not get attention, does not get interest, does not get like all the like any like care or whatever. People like to pretend it does, but it's the butt of the joke. Which okay, offensive comedy, whatever. But like when people say, for example, like prison rape, and they're talking about that being part of the punishment. That's always directed towards men. 100%. Like men are the ones who like receive that in prison scenarios. Or when we talk about like representation, I can't think of male rape victims. The only person I know of is Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Right.
And even
he's
he
not
gets a little bit of
victim.
shit for it.
He got sexual, and he did get shit for it. And it's an emasculating experience. You get basically no resources for it. There's no centers to go to. It's just a thing you kind of deal with. And I viewed rape as a thing that doesn't happen to men. And so I never viewed it. I just viewed it as a thing that happened to me one time. Just as a weird sexual thing. That, for whatever reason, someone in their 30s doing what they did to me when I was 5 was just a
Hold on
weird
1 second.
sexual thing.
Did the ore all sink, Jade?
It did.
How much ore did you have on you?
I had like maybe 40.
Okay. Keep going, Dylan. Jade, deposit everything you have in the holds here. You're going to go diving for it. Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
What was I saying?
Wait, are you sure the ore sank? Hold on. Look in your inventory. It's not in your
wait.
inventory? You're a dumb
No,
fuck.
I
Okay,
put it
never mind.
there.
I'm sorry. Keep going. It really cut off Dylan. Okay, go ahead. Nobody takes male sexual assault seriously. It's not a thing that happens to men.
Yeah. It's not a thing that happens to men. So it was like in this moment where I realized when talking to my partner, like, oh yeah, that was rape. Like almost 16 years later, I stumble upon the idea that I was raped. Not like this was an active thing that I knew afterwards had happened to me, or figured out when like figured out what rape was.
Mhm.
It was just I just like, oh, I was raped, which is really weird. And so that was like a moment where I slowly developed and acknowledged what occurred to me, and then started to like, I think acknowledging that was like a huge point for me like being more accepting of that trauma. And I think the second thing was me being more accepting of my like my sexuality. My father had, for whatever reason, I always looked up to my father growing up. He like, I thought he was like the coolest person ever. He just watched, like, you know, as a kid, like, he watched horror movies all the time. He has these cool leather jackets. He had a cool car. He was a Monte Carlo. He was just like the coolest guy in the world. He could play pool. He had tattoos. He's just the coolest thing in the world. And I looked up to him so much, even though I had probably much better male figures in my life. And he said to me, and it stuck with me, said, "Thank God my only son ain't gay." And that like stuck with me. Like the idea that if I liked guys, that'd be a huge disappointment, a huge failure. And I know when he found out that if I was there was a good chance he would have been violent with me. Because I know because I was told that when he found out, he like clenched his fists and like. But eventually he was like, "Yeah, I don't really care who you bring home, but you know, the damage is already done." Like the idea of me talking about like having the sex with like a woman is like so easy for me to do. Me like even beginning to like delve into like, so when I was young I had a crush on this, like it's like I turn into like an insecure ball, and it's so weird because it's so, I don't know how to really describe it, but the thing that I've found out is it's not like, oh, a lot of people think being bisexual is like you're 50 this, you're 50 that, right?
Yeah.
It's what the fuck is that? That thing looks wild. That thing's look wicked on the screen. What is that?
I don't know. Sorry, but keep going.
No, this is a cool monster. Anyway, so cool. I'm like, I'm like, fuck, I'm like 90% just gay. And that's like a weird thing to like wrap my head around. Like that's a thing, like that was like a big part of me. And I was only like experiencing 10% of like who I was sexually. And that's just weird because it's like in the weirdest ways you like realize like how you were. I remember when I was a kid. You're familiar with Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know Ginyu, what the Ginyu Force
The Ginyu
was?
Force, yeah, the loser guys. The purple dude was the leader or whatever, yeah.
You remember the red dude?
Or what was his name?
No, he's the red dude. He
Jace?
was Australian. Yeah, Jace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know it, but in my head I was like, man, you'd be really cool if Jace like he got hurt like bad, but not too bad, and then like the good guy like took him and like brought him home and like, you know, fed him like soup, like wrapped him up in like a blanket, and like developed like a deep like emotional bond, and like what I was literally, it was like I was just being like, it's 100%. It's like everything gay, but except for like sexual, like action. It was like 100% just homosexual. Like it was like deep emotional homosexuality, which I think is like a little bit different than like
homo-romanticism, not just...
like extreme homo-romanticism. And this is another thing. It is so difficult for me to view women in a romantic manner. There's very few that I could possibly do that with. Men, it's like that.
Sure.
And so there's a million stories from my youth that I can remember, like imagine, like where I viewed men in that way and never women, where it was abusive because it made me have this idea where it was like, oh, like sex is just the thing, it's a sexual object, that's how you interact with people, and that's how, because it's just suppressed. And that's something that I'm trying to like work more on, be more open with. That like that's a huge part of who I am.
Wait, is your current partner a girl or a guy?
They go by they them.
They go by they them. Interesting. Okay.
I think you may have seen them on stream before.
Yeah, with the huge black hair, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. I know what you were looking for.
Wait, what was I looking for? Wait, what?
Don't worry about it. Anyway.
Or I was curious because I've seen them before, and they looked to me like a girl, like the expression is a woman or whatever. So I didn't know if that impacted your game.
They present feminine.
Yeah. So I didn't know if that was like, or how that
Yeah, I know,
worked.
that's what I meant. That's what you were looking for.
Yeah.
It wasn't a racism. Don't worry.
Wait, no, this isn't racism. I wasn't thinking about the race. I was thinking about their presentation, gender-wise.
Yeah. A presentation, like
Yeah.
skin color, or like what do you mean?
Well, no, not that.
But yeah. So like that's and I mean I guess that's also interesting. Like the one person, like I like the one person I did develop romantic feelings with, ends up being trans. Right? Is like out of everyone. It's I guess it shows us like I was a lot more queer than I thought I was.
Yeah, I think I think that meeting people really changes your view of what you think you could tolerate. Because I've had multiple experiences in my life where I had an assumption about a group of people, and again, I consider myself to be too smart for dumb stuff like that. But then like once I meet like certain types of people, I'm like, holy shit, like I don't know why I had this like assumption in my head before. Like this was so stupid. Like what the fuck was I thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, it was an yeah. I just it was weird because and the thing is, I was extremely sexually active throughout like high school and like I and obviously because of like the rape, I became very sexually active at a younger age because that's obviously that type of stuff can like have effects on like like somebody having a regular developmental like sexual like, stuff, and that like kickstarted it obviously by what happened with that and the later the sexual assault and everything else. And I guess a lot of it was like I did have a few experiences with men, but it was just like I wasn't gay. I just wanted to interact with that man sexually and do that thing with that man sexually, and just give and not receive in any manner, and somehow that like it's it make the logic around it. But then I mostly have sex with women, and I was almost like I guess you could almost describe it as like a sex addict because I felt like I had to like constantly like get a fill, if you know what I'm saying, because it was like I was overcompensating because I wasn't also like addressing the areas that like I think I mostly identify with. You know what I mean? It also puts me in a weird position, like how do I identify myself, right? Like, do I just call myself gay? Because a lot of people like online actually just think I'm gay, right? Because of how like I've been talking about myself recently. A lot of people just think 100% gay, must be with a guy, like something along those lines, because of just how I talk about it. Which I mean, it's easy to believe, and it's 100% understandable. And it's like at one point, is it just like when you're 95% towards men and 5% towards women? At one point, do you say, okay, I'm gay? At one point, do you say like I'm bisexual? You know what I mean? Because the idea is if it's fluid, then like everyone's bisexual, but but for practicality's sake, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?